Hello, everyone. Welcome to this episode of SBJ Live. I'm Dan Kaufman with Sports Business Journal. Thank you for joining us here. I don't typically wear this type of outfit for an SBJ Live episode, but I am actually in London, just outside of London at Allianz Stadium in Twickenham. And I'm here for our Leaders in Sport Leaders Week conference. Leaders in Sport is the sister company to Sports Business Journal. So I am here. I was on stage earlier today, and I have not changed my clothes, but I'm happy to be here for this SBJ Live episode. The stadium is right behind me. This is where the national teams for the men's and women's rugby England teams play here at Allianz Stadium. So welcome, everyone. That's why I have this outfit on, and that's why you see the stadium in the background. But enough about that. I didn't want that to be too much of a distraction, so I wanted to identify that at the outset. But I want to also welcome you here and thank everyone for joining and thank our speakers for being here. This is From AI to Integrations, Smart Connected Venues, Technology that Delivers Results. I will introduce our speakers in just a moment, but before I do that, as you are joining the session here, I want to make sure that you do a couple of things. And I apologize if you've been to many SBJ Lives before because you're going to get the same set of instructions, but they're important. And the instructions generally relate to your engagement, your interaction. So what does that mean? There's two features that I want to point out to you that I want to make sure that you use. One is a chat feature, and that's in the bottom right corner of your screen. We would love it if you will introduce yourself there, tell us who you are, what you do, and where you're coming from. And if you see people you know in that chat and you want to say hello to them, please feel free to do that throughout. We welcome that type of interaction and engagement. And then directly next to the chat bubble is a questions bubble. That's where we want your questions. I have a ton of questions for our panelists, but we want your questions as well. That's the beauty of these live sessions. We can take your questions and you can upvote questions that you see go in there. So if you see questions in there and you think it's a great question, upvote it and we'll do our best to get to it. Don't wait till the end to put the questions in. There's no specific Q&A period. Make sure you're weaving those questions into the questions tab throughout, and I will do my best to get them asked and answered from Geoffrey and Dani here. We'll go for about 40 to 45 minutes. If we have a ton of questions from the audience, we might go a little bit longer, but that's the target, 40 to 45 minutes. It's my pleasure to welcome to the stage Dani Stern. He's the Senior Director of Product Management for Commercial Real Estate at Honeywell, and Geoffrey Stiles. Geoffrey is the Senior Vice President of Facilities and Events at the Atlanta Hawks. Geoffrey and Dani, thank you so much for being here. I'm going to give each of you about 30 seconds to a minute to tell us a little more about yourself, and I will start with Geoffrey.
Hey, thanks, Dan. Appreciate it. Really happy to be here. My name is Geoffrey Stiles. I'm obviously the title. I basically oversee the arena, State Farm Arena here, and the events inside of it. I've been with the Hawks now since 2018. I've got my background is a little interesting. This is my first venture in sports entertainment. I went to school for nuclear engineering and somehow ended up in wind energy and then hospitality. So my path here has been a little bit interesting, but happy to be here and happy to talk with you.
Wow. Did not know that, Geoffrey. Impressive. Thank you very much. Dani, over to you.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you for having us, Dan, and Sports Business Journal. So I'm Dani Stern. I lead the commercial real estate vertical in Honeywell, and that's inclusive of sports entertainment. Sports entertainment is a very important growing vertical for us where we make a lot of investment with major products. So I lead product and strategy globally for that vertical. And I've had the pleasure of meeting, I've been with Honeywell for 5 years, but I have a pleasure with meeting Geoffrey even before that back in, I think, 2019. So really proud of our work that we do together, and I'm excited to be able to talk a little bit about that today.
Thank you, Dani. Geoffrey, we'll start with you. I think I want to take us back maybe 5 years. So take us back 5 years, talk us through some of the challenges you were facing at that moment from an operational perspective. And then as we go along with this conversation, I think we'll address some of the solutions to those challenges. But let's address the challenges first. So take us back 5 years. What were some of the things you were facing that you wanted to try to solve?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, for those of you not familiar, State Farm Arena is formerly Phillips Arena, built in 1997, opened in 99. And I know a lot of people on this call are probably sitting there thinking 97, that's basically a new build. But in the world, we're the third busiest concert venue in the United States, fifth busiest concert venue in the world. And we are, it's extremely important to be able to take care of the space. In 2018, we did the second largest renovation in the history of the NBA. and we turned what used to be a hockey building with built as a big box with some portals, right? We just blew it up and turned it into Swiss cheese and completely changed the way that the arena operated. And so, we went from, again, I want to be very clear too, that I'm an operator, right? We've talked about this, the three of us. I see the word AI and I get scared. We have one of the best IT teams in the NBA, led by Kim Rametto, and I end up asking her questions about this all the time. So I want to be very clear, I'm not an expert in that field, but my team would go around shoving nuts in actuators in order to get things to work, because that's what we had to do, right? And really, it's just because the system was from 1997. We did this huge renovation. We didn't really touch anything back of house on purpose. That was a decision that we made because we wanted to drive occupancy through the building, and then catch up on the infrastructure piece. And so it's really, we were challenged from operating the building the way it needed to be operated with the volume of people that we put through that building every year. Hopefully that answers your question.
Yeah, it does. And I think, first of all, I want to thank the audience for giving us a question in the questions tab already, and for introducing yourselves in the chat. Keep them coming, keep the questions coming. We will do our best to get to them. Dani, I think I'll go to you. Given the challenges that that Geoffrey faced, how in the early meetings did you go about evaluating what those challenges were? And then how did you explain why what you guys could provide was the right solution for Geoffrey?
Yeah, and what we really believe with Honeywell is not to tell the customer what they need. Here's our fancy technology. That will never work. But really understand what are their business outcomes, what are their challenges, what are they trying to do. Atlanta Hawks State Farm Arena is a landmark in Atlanta and downtown Atlanta. We're very impressed with what they're already doing in the city. So by able to bring our teams together of solution advisors, of our leadership was involved as well, product and strategy people, to sit together with the team, to sit together with Geoffrey and the rest of his team to understand, tell us about your vision, tell us about your problems, discover, right? A lot of times what we do is go discover who are the different personas, what's your food and beverage person needs, what is your back of house team that does the facilities, what are the challenges day to day, and only then augment the technology. So that's something we're very proud of, because then when it comes time to deploy it, or it comes time to make a decision on it, it's a technology that has synergies with their business goals, and those kind of challenges of keeping the building sustainable and fan experience, which is so important for the Hawks, is something that we want to make sure that our core systems and our AI and advanced system support.
Geoffrey, back to you. Can you give us a little more specifics maybe on some of the specific solutions then that you are implementing now through Honeywell? I mean, I know there's the Honeywell Forge system, but also upgrading some of the BMS. Like, talk a little bit about some of the specific solutions, and Dani as well, if you want to jump in, please do.
Yeah, so the first thing that we needed to do revolved around our building automation system. I mean, like I told you before, we're operating off of an older system that wasn't always compatible with the equipment we had. That was the first step. Then we moved into a healthy building system, right? I mean, which is basically through Honeywell. It's a version of filtration and monitoring indoor air quality. It's a big deal for our company health, our staff health, obviously player health and fan health, right? And it's something we cared a lot about. We're now taking a step into kind of the next phase of really understanding what it means to the rest of the central plant. And really, I mean, obviously, a lot of people on the call understand, how big and how important the central plant and how complicated it is, but really integrating it with the building management system, and figuring out efficient ways to operate the building. Those are some of the projects we've done with them.
Yeah, and Dani, feel free to add to that. I've got another question if you're going to jump to it, but go ahead.
I will say, first of all, I just see what Geoffrey is saying, and then compare it to the type of attendees we have today, and I'm very impressed by names, titles, organization. Since we have the right people to have a conversation like that. So really, thank you for that. So yeah, some venues such as the State Farm Arena really did have, I would call it an aging BMS system that they wanted to replace, that it was kind of time to replace. And an average venue in the US is around 25 years of service already. So a lot of those venues now come to the place where they gotta do upgrades. But I will say that our approach is actually not upgrade first. It's almost like we see the building, and we see, does your current BMS system or your current other system, security, access control, fire, life safety, do they have the runtime and run life that we can augment them with additional technology, software, cloud services, AI, to give you more outcomes from what you have with less CapEx? So that's our approach is first, let's assess. And in State Farm, the assessment was indeed, let's go ahead and make a replacement for the building management system, but make it in a way that that's a system that is planned, deployed, that can really work in concert to support the needs that we don't even know today. We know we need AI, we know we need sustainability optimization, we know we need fan experience, but to build it in a way that will support their needs moving forward and is extendable, open, is the integration is works really well, and be able to adapt to the needs that don't even know today. So I think that was key. Even before we talk about what AI has done for them and optimization and sustainability and all of that.
As I was talking with you guys earlier, I recognized that the word partner was used a lot, and it's not just a transactional relationship, not just a vendor, not a one-time thing. But I want to know from you what that means. Like, what does it mean when you call someone a partner? Jeffrey, why was that important to you? What does the word partner mean to you? And then I'll flip it to Don.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, it's funny, like, being, a lot of people on this call know this already. Like, when you're looking at it from a business perspective with a company like Honeywell, which is truly a juggernaut, right? State Farm Arena, we're not a big fish, right? Like, we're not from a economical perspective. If you look at what Honeywell does, comparison, like a company like Marriott, right, which has 7,000 properties, we're not that big, but we're extremely bright. Right. And so we're kind of one of the brightest fish out there. And really Honeywell understands that. Right. And when they came to us and we started having initial conversations, being able to work with us to understand what we did, being able to understand the type of solution that we needed and what our goals were. I mean, Dani talked about it earlier. I mean, costs are incredibly important to us because we're business just like anybody else. But no one's going to come to my arena if it's hot. We're in Atlanta. Right. I mean, Atlanta is, they call us Hot Atlanta for a reason. And so, like, we've got to keep the building conditioned. We've got to keep it the right way. And really, Honeywell was able to come to us and offer to be a true partner, work through solutions with us, work through understanding our goals, and not come to us with just, hey, this is our business solution. This is going to make, we went through so many different iterations of what the system looks like. And they were very happy to work with us. And it is a true partnership in every sense of the word. And that's been a breath of fresh air for us.
That's incredible to hear that from you, Geoffrey. I really thank you for that partnership. And you know what? I hear you say that, and almost like to us, they're the world, right? We don't treat as 7,000 customers or different, and we're very engaged with the success. I think our CEO was visiting you at least twice. We had we created partnerships with youth in the Atlanta region that supported that to impact the local community, and we tried to do that with State Farm and with other customers, right? We're doing things right now with the Charlotte Hornets that will be announced soon. We're doing things with many other customers where we have kind of specialized, verticalized local teams. Some of them on the call today, Ron Madison, Kirk Rabius, that will basically help you achieve your outcomes, understand them, and then be with you throughout the way, right? Because not everything goes smoothly. Not everything is just flip the switch, and you know that very well, Geoffrey. And when we're with you throughout that process until you get those outcomes and later. So to us, a partnership is two ways, and also how to impact the local community, how to impact the fans, how to for both sides. It's not like let's go sell something and move on to the next customer. It's quite the opposite.
Donnie, are there customers, potential customers that you meet with who don't really understand or appreciate that level of partnership that you guys want? And how do you advise them if that is the case?
Yeah, you know what? It's really interesting. And the reality is that some customers are very much used to, hey, I need something, I'll put it out to bid, and it will go to like my GC and my owner's rep, and from there to like a mechanical contractor, and yada, yada, yada. and here you go. Here's like, meet the spec and let's bid it against 5 other people. That's great, but the way that things were used to do when everything was really clear, right? I just need something to meet my minimum spec and I want to get it to the cheapest as possible. It's a little different world, and that's what we try to explain to them. You're still going to get a really good price. You're still going to get all of that, but allowing us to engage with you, and you don't pay extra for that, right? Like you bring us solution advisors that are experts in what they do, to discover your needs, to help you write down things that you might not have even thought about them. So we basically kind of say, hey, engage us early before it go bid it later. But before that, engage us early so we can help you think what kind of systems help with the outcomes you're looking for, help you discover things that you might not know. Maybe we can help share some things that other arenas, other stadiums do in the US and globally, right? We're doing, just next week, I'm going to be in London meeting hundreds of football clubs. Like, so what I say to them is, don't worry about being able to look at the market to make sure that you're getting the right partner, but don't be afraid to engage early in order to get all those benefits of discovery, of road mapping, of outcomes, and matching the right technologies.
Geoffrey, I'll shift a little bit here, but how do you manage the implementation of all these new things that Honeywell is bringing to the table while also recognizing that you got to maintain operations, right? You got to keep doing what you're doing on a day-to-day basis. Talk us through challenges with that. How do you approach it?
Yeah, I mean, I talked earlier about how busy our arena is. I think probably everybody on the call is dealing with that same thing. I mean, we do over 100 concerts a year here, as well as obviously the Hawks games. You have to be creative when working through those solutions. I mean, that's just the way you have to do it. I think one of the things that we worked really hard on is making sure that while we were going through these changes, that we had backup systems. Again, Dani just talked about it earlier. The Honeywell team was incredibly helpful in helping us find solutions to make sure that we had backup means in case things went the way we didn't expect them to go. I mean, we had Honeywell provide us with technicians that would address things. And to Donnie's point, happened many times, right? There's things that are unexpected during upgrades that happen. You have to have that ready, and you have to be able to provide, we can't go over a certain temperature for games, right? And so if we don't have the ability to do that, it puts a lot of what we do in jeopardy. So, I mean,
literally the NBA is measuring it, right? Like independently.
Oh, yeah. It's if we go 0.1 over our temperature thresholds, the league office calls me and asks me what's going on, and they should, right? Because this is the tip of the iceberg leagues. There is no higher level of sport than the NBA, NFL, MLB, right? Like, we're the highest level of sport, and we have to have those standards in order to be able to do that, right? In a working environment, we have to have help. We have to have our partners be able to provide those solutions for us. Right. So again, it's proper planning. It's when you're, it's funny, right? When you put in a system that is actually a good system, you start to realize how much stuff really wasn't working the way it was supposed to work, right? And like, it's really kind of an interesting thing that when you're going through these processes, you find a bunch of things that, you may think that a Belimo valve was installed the right way, when in actuality it was installed backwards, right? Like 3 years ago when we changed it out, and we just didn't have the ability to measure that in the previous system. And now, after going through with Honeywell and figuring out these things, it gives us the opportunity to be able to be really strategic and make sure that the building is operating the way it's supposed to work. So I know that was a fairly long answer, but like, you have to have a great plan in place, and you have to make sure that your partners are working with you and understand the operational needs, right? We can't just cancel a concert because it's hot. It doesn't work in our world, right? So yeah.
And Geoffrey, I like to say, it's incredible what you just said, because it's really delightful, right? Like, you invest in those systems, you make the upgrades, you put AI-based systems for optimization, for anything from FDD to really understand what's going on and then address it. And then you're like, sometimes there's like a wow effect. And what we really strive is to keep it almost like as a continuous, right? Not just like day one, it gave me what I needed and I go and change some things, but something that your teams would see it as another tool in their toolbox that helps them work better, faster, service better, get your business outcomes and basically give them that continuous value in order to address your outcome. So what you just described is just a perfect example of that.
Yeah, terrific answer. And you saw a reaction from the audience even. Thank you to the audience for giving the thumbs up.
Yep.
It was a great answer. Speaking of the audience, we have 2 questions from audience members, and I want to try to get to them. To the audience, make sure you keep submitting the questions and upvote the questions you want to make sure we get to. But let's start with this question from Will Costello. Will asked this, and it's primarily directed at you, Geoffrey. I think in your busiest game day windows, say halftime or the 20 minutes before concerts start, how do you typically balance speed of service with consistency of concessions? Do you ever feel like the throughput caps out even when demand is still there? And what smart solutions have you found?
Yeah, that's a great question. Again, we have an amazing partner in Levy Restaurants, right? Like they really have an entire team that is really focused on making sure the analytics side, in conjunction with our analytics team, is focused on making sure that we capture as much as we can while still delivering that speed of service. I think that in planning, I talked about the renovation that we did. In planning our renovation, we really tried to figure out point of sales and where the point of sales made sense. In kind of our strategic premium applications, right? We kind of figure out the best way to get. I got to be honest with you, nothing's ever going to help the Chick-fil-A line, right? You guys know that. You go, probably all of y'all wait outside. That's just going to happen. But I think that again, we've just got such an amazing analytics and partnership with Levy that really they are such good professionals in figuring out ways to do that and moving people from place to place and really showing them the right way to go. So hopefully that answers your question.
Yeah. Thank you for the question, Will. Thank you for the answer, Geoffrey.
Before I go to the next one, I'll just add to that there's a lot of solutions in that field, and great to see what Geoffrey deployed, and like what we see from other partners as well, that like a lot of like crowd analytics, a lot of tied to it just ties directly to experience, right? So there is a host of smart solutions, as you say, that some of them Geoffrey mentioned, and there's even more to that. Application experience apps that people can get things delivered to them or pre-plan their ordering. Flow, as Geoffrey mentioned, ability to tie that to basically their experience walking in. So digital signage that kind of create. So there is a lot of interesting solutions that can help with that. So
keep the questions coming. I see a couple more came in. I'm going to get to them in just a minute. But first, Dani, smart solutions. You said it. I mean, I don't know that there's smarter solutions, or at least more cutting edge solutions now than artificial intelligence driven solutions or AI driven solutions. Talk a little bit about how Honeywell approaches using artificial intelligence to help with everything that Geoffrey has been doing.
So we actually been using and offering artificial intelligence-based solutions for quite a while, at least a couple of years before it's kind of exploded on our last a couple of years ago, when a lot of the maybe consumers saw like the ChatGPT and the LLM models of the world. We are our systems basically start with integrated the data. We cannot achieve any database or AI-based outcomes without a very, very clear orchestration of the data, integrating all of that building systems and non-building systems. So the convergence of IT and OT is very much real. So if you think about OTs, they are fire and life safety systems, access control systems, your building management, your HVAC, the chillers, all of those things are the traditional OT systems. But then you gotta bring it all together, and you gotta map it in the right way, and in a data lake that everything has a role in the right ontology. That's a technical term to arrange data and have it ready for AI. At the same time, we make sure we also bring non-OT systems. So if it's ticketing systems, if it's indoor air quality sensors that are more cloud-based, any system that is not directly tied to your building. And from there, we created a suite of product. We call it Honeywell Connected Solutions, Honeywell Forge for Buildings. And it basically creates one example of it, and I won't go over all of them, is ones that create, I will say, AI-based optimization, because usually it's conflicting, right? You either put a bunch of energy and a bunch of carbon and run all of your systems to keep everybody really, really with like fresh air changes and like chilled air and to keep them very comfortable in a hot summer, or vice versa in the winter. But then you kind of sometimes do it in areas that you don't have to, and in quantities that you don't need to. And there's suites that are empty at some of the times, and there's suites that are packed 2x some of the time. And what an AI-based system and optimization helps you get so many data sources of intention, of flow, analyze video feeds, booking systems, sensor data, if it's humidity, if it's all of that things, feed it into the system, and at the same time keep people comfortable, exactly what they need to do, while reducing your equipment runtime and energy spend and carbon, and kind of achieve those at the same time. So that's one example of how our AI-based systems create real use case, and that helps a venue.
I'm going to get to another audience question. This one's from Donald Liu. Donald says, and this looks like it's directed for you, Dani, what is Honeywell doing specifically for outdoor open air stadia?
Yeah, we actually have quite a bit, especially with the rise of more soccer in the US. Of course, with the MLB, we have several MLB customers that we're working right now. So our systems, first of all, there's a lot within the core closed area within the open, right? You do have suites, you do have corridors, you do have a lot of that stuff that are in need for the best fire life safety and building management system and those optimizations. And there's still a need for fan experience. There's still a need for seamless entry and facial recognition if needed, or connection between access control to ticketing system, the building management. So all of the closed area absolutely has a significant impact that our systems can help with. But then when you look at the open area, we offer things such as the lighting controls, the digital signage integrations, the fire and life safety, the threat detection. Honeywell recently acquired Lenel S2, so one of the leading brands in the world for security, threat detection, command and control suites that we offer as part of our packages. So basically to kind of bring it all into a one smart building. So I would say for an outdoor open air stadium, they have even, I would say, more challenges, maybe different challenges, okay? And we do have the solutions to help with that, both from an optimization, but also from the outcomes of operations, security, and fan experience.
Geoffrey, I'm going to jump back to you, and Dani, you can chime in as well. Talk us through a little bit how you prepared your team for this type of major implementation, these changes that you brought about with Honeywell. Talk us through how maybe advice you could give to other people in your position of how to make sure you get your team ready so they can do it seamlessly.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's a very interesting thing when you're talking about specifically facility staff. Typically speaking, and I can't speak for everybody, but in most buildings that I've been in for, I don't want to say like 3 decades now, I've been running buildings, but like you have very long tenured team members, right? Because it's a very specialized job and it's a rewarding job, but people stay in those jobs for a long time. Because of that, they know ways to operate the building that when Coach Snyder calls and says, I wanted a certain temperature, we're gonna do everything we can to make it that temperature, because that's what these guys know how to do. So for years, I think I referenced this earlier, they're going around and shoving a nut in a valve, right, to make sure it doesn't close, because the system
in the right place.
That's exactly right. I mean, and so like you have to understand that for years and years and years, these folks have been running around operating motors in hand, right, turning everything on, bypassing certain controls because the controls didn't work because they were old. And so I think that really the key in moving and doing something like this is involving them in the process from the very beginning. Again, Honeywell has offered us so many different training opportunities, right? They come in and show our team the system, show our team the capabilities, and really just continuous training and getting the actual hands-on folks that are operating the system out of bypassing controls and really more in trusting the system and how it works, because it's a great system. That's the advice that I would give people that are looking at going through this is really, it's shifting a mindset, right? It's a great piece of technology. It's a great piece of control, but it's not going to work if you try and bypass it like you used to. So yeah, that would be my advice.
Dani, anything you would add to that?
Yeah, I mean, it's such a challenge, right? Like anybody in this room considering putting in new systems, integrated systems, AI-based systems, all of that, you will have your tenured staff that they know what they're doing and they've been running so well. It's like what Geoffrey was saying, and I think that what we always like to approach it is with on the first end, before we even deploy the product, when we develop it with those people, with the feedbacks of the Geoffrey and Geoffrey's, the likes of Geoffrey, and with his teams. We sit down in the boiler rooms, in the control areas. We learn from our customers, because that knowledge, they will retire at some point, right? And the expectations of the generations to come are different expectations as they relate to AI first native and technology and all of those things. So what we're trying to do is kind of bridge both worlds. Take all that knowledge and experience in those wonderful men and women that run those stadiums today, and help them adopt systems like that in a way that stay with constant feedback, and help them get feedback directly to us, offer the right amount of training, the right amount of control for them to override as they need it, and have that, like, I will say, build up onboarding as they gain more trust. But then at the same time, um, as those people might retire with their 30 years of experience, we do want to get those systems ready for more employees that might have expectations of even technology doing more than what the current personnel is doing. So bridging both worlds is something that we're very proud of as it relates to training and adopting our products as well.
Great audience questions coming through. I want to get to some, and hopefully we'll get to them all. Keep them coming. This one from Brian Goldenberg. Geoffrey, when it comes to sustainability data, how do you compile data from different sources to measure energy usage and emissions, carbon footprint? Who are the stakeholders, and how do you use that information?
That's a great question. Obviously, we State Farm Radio, we've been kind of the industry benchmark as far as waste diversion. We're the first true certified zero waste sports entertainment facility in the world. Really, one of the areas that we're trying to really focus on now is the energy piece, right? It's the carbon footprint, and I think that really Honeywell provides a great solution for that, and kind of bringing things in and making sure that we're able to track that in one place. There's so many different sources, and really we're going down that path right now, Brian. And it's incredibly hard for a building that has never measured it in the past. I mean, you have to start talking about tracking the delivery routes of vendors, right? That's impressively difficult for someone like us. But it's something we're just getting into right now and trying to understand that. Again, Honeywell has been incredibly helpful with us in just understanding the efficiency of a building, and by not bypassing things and by operating the equipment the way it's supposed to be operated, it really provides us the opportunity to be thoughtful in the way that we program the building, in the way that we are able to turn things off when you're supposed to, and really work through those solutions, which sounds simple, but for all of you operators out there, you know how difficult it is, right? So I think that it's really figuring that piece out. Yes, about stakeholders, right? Like, I think that there are many of us, and making sure that we have everybody in the organization involved, mostly from a concessions and F&B perspective, but even more towards just a use and understanding from people all around the building. So that's, again, it's a difficult thing to kind of herd everybody together, but that open communication with your team, and understanding the tools that your partners give you, like Honeywell, really kind of help you get to that next step.
Great question. Thank you, Brian, for the question. Thank you, Geoffrey, for the answer. I want to give the audience a heads up that there is a poll. If you click on the polls button in the bottom right, there's a poll there that we'd ask you to complete if you want to. Let us know if you'd like to hear from Honeywell, because you want to talk more with them. We'll be able to see that you clicked yes on the back end if you want, and we can have someone reach out to you. So go ahead and complete that poll if you would like. I've got another audience question here that's great. It's got 2 upvotes, so I'm going to get to it. It's from Leslie Dunn, and it's 2 questions here, actually, one for Geoffrey and one for Dani. For Geoffrey, what holes or challenges do you find that you still run into? And then for Dani, what's a venue challenge or problem that you're still working on in a building, still working and building a solution for? So maybe kind of forward-looking thing. What is still out there, Geoffrey, that you wish there was a solution for? And then Dani, what are you hoping you might have down the line? Geoffrey, I'll start with you.
Wonderful question.
I mean,
yeah,
it's a great question. It's something we talk about all the time. And I think that there are, again, I reference our IT team, award-winning IT team, and we have literally a department that is designated just vetting new technologies out there. There's just so much right now. And, one of the things I think is still fairly antiquated in the way that we do business from a facilities perspective is think about CMMS, right? The amount of resources that we spend on making sure that we preventatively take care of issues, it just seems like there's some form of, I'm going to use AI, and please don't laugh at me because, again, remember, I'm an operator, but of AI to help us learn, right? To help us learn, if I install this motor, I've literally got to have somebody sit there for hours and research what the maintenance steps are for that particular vendor and how often you've got to do it. It just seems like there's a better way of being able to, okay, this is the equipment, this is the horse that I installed to this date, automatically pull up maintenance, populate it, and then diagnose it, tell me the operations through working with the Honeywell system, Forge, right? And being able to diagnose and figure out a problem. So I think there's such a huge opportunity there that I don't really think has been tackled by anybody yet. Hopefully that answers your question.
It's a great answer. Dani, now you're part of the question.
Yeah, honestly, first of all, I very connect with what Geoffrey was saying. Forge Systems does a lot of that for your HVAC, but then there's so many other systems within the buildings. It's kind of like tells you hey, here's a predictive issue coming up. Here's what you should look at. Here's what you should do. We even have a remote knock that can help you 24/7 assess and solve it for you before you even have to have a technician on site do anything. But I will say, roadmap, we are working on a lot of more solutions, right? We have Honeywell is one of the for sure one of the largest building technologies company in the world, but also one of the ones that invest the most in new technology. Literally tens of thousands of engineers and product managers are working all the time on a host of roadmaps that I can't expose all of them today. But I think one of them that is most interesting to me is, okay, we talk about AI. We deployed AI in optimization, sustainability, fault detection, diagnosis, all of those things, and connect all of those other data points in order to achieve that. To me, the next step is to deploy AI throughout the different ecosystem within the sports and entertainment industry. So when you go to a venue, Geoffrey mentioned CMMS. I know which one is working with. There's so many other systems, ticketing, food and beverage. There's a vendor almost for anything. And being able for us to provide an integrated platform with, you talk about single pane of glass, but it's really a single layer that is available for outcomes to different personas. So at the same time, the needs of a food and beverage person, they're different than the needs of an operator, but they can benefit from AI-based outcomes that are coming from systems that they have not access to before. And connecting all of those is something we're working on. We already have a very nice integrated system that brings all of that together, but those outcomes and achieving more AI-based outcomes of those, definitely on our roadmap and something we partner with our customers to as well.
We're going to wrap up here in just a minute, but I want to give Dani the last word here. And actually, you know what? This is for both you guys. I'll give both you guys the opportunity for a last word here. But I want to leave the audience with advice, something that they can take back to what they do that is actionable. And so if you could put that concisely as possible, what is the one or two key pieces of advice that you would give to someone in your shoes, Geoffrey, or someone that you want to work with, Dani, that you want them to take home from this SBJ Live today? Geoffrey, I'll start with you, and Dani, I will give you the last word. Go ahead, Geoffrey.
Yeah, I mean, listen, I think it's really having open and direct communications with your partners. I mean, I think that it's taking input. Not always thinking that you've got the right direction for everything, even though sometimes you may. That's the advice I give people. I always say it all comes down to confidence, right? It comes down to how confident are you in the systems that you're working with, in the people you're working with, and then the decisions and ability to operate the building. And so unless you're able to have those open dialogues and take input from your partners, I don't think you're truly maximizing what you can do with your building or your operations.
Dani.
Well, I would say I totally agree with Geoffrey, and I think my biggest piece of advice or maybe request is don't be scared to try out, be a little bit vulnerable in terms of come expose your issues, your problems. Give us a call. We would love to hear from you. Just say that you'd like to hear from us. We'll come to you. We'll think together what your outcomes are. You have no commitment. You're not paying anything for that. We'll just help you think what is achievable. Are you building a new stadium? You're not. Are you renovating? You're not. You need more fan experience, multi-event venue, more concert time, but you have those issues. We'll help you discover them. So I would say just be open in terms of like sharing what your concerns are, what your outcomes you're trying to do. We can help you even bring the right stakeholders. A lot of times we hear for customers, yeah, I'm all for it, but like the head of this and the head of this, we need to bring them on board. So that's my piece of advice. Start a conversation. I always like to invite people to come see us in Atlanta. We open a brand new customer experience centers, and then we can all go visit Geoffrey together. But really, we would love to engage with all of you guys, and just help you discover, even if it's just the discovery part, and you stay and you think about it later. So that's my piece of advice. Be vulnerable with your outcomes.
Thank you very much to both of you. And a thank you to Honeywell for supporting this SBJ Live. Thank you to the audience for great questions and for being with us for this SBJ Live. We've got another one next week. If you want to register for that one, go to sportsbusinessjournal.com and you can see all upcoming episodes of SBJ Live. Dani, Geoffrey, thank you once again. Have a great day, everyone.
Thank you, Dan. Thank you, Geoffrey. And thank you for everyone in attendance today. Bye-bye.